Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our program student orientation webinar today. My name is Cheryl Christensen. I coordinate the advising services area here in the Faculty of Business at Athabasca University. But before we get started here, I just want to know if you can hear me well and see the slide on your screen so you can practice using your little chat box on the webinar panel to let me know everything's okay. You should be seeing the first slide's a photo from our convocation ceremony with a big purple banner that says Undergraduate. So if I can just get some okays, then I know everything's all right. Yeah, so it looks like I'm getting some. Thanks, Amanda and Megan, Melanie. Good. Okay, great. So I think we're okay on that part of things. There are a few housekeeping items to take care of. So you would have noticed when I started the broadcast that you're in listen only mode. So what that means is you won't be able to speak with us directly, but you'll be able to type any questions you have in that box you just practiced using. And we'll try to hold those all to the end and respond to them at the end, because hopefully most of your questions will be covered throughout the presentation. So we just ask that you kind of hold off, kind of see if we answer those things throughout. And if not, then definitely we'll stick around and answer any questions you have via the chat. We do have a full time slot here. So the full hour is really going to be all presentation portion. And then, like I said, we'll stay around as long as we need to answer any questions you might have. So the questions usually do go beyond that hour. I will send you all a recording of the webinar after. So don't feel too bad if you have to leave or you only have the hour for lunch, as you can watch the end of it at a later time or something if you have to leave. So no worries there either. One other thing, instead of having to write everything down or try to remember everything we're saying, is the handout is available as a PDF document for you to download as well in the panel. So you should be able to find that and download it as well. And then you'll have all the links and all those resources that we're referring to whenever you need them. Okay, so with that, like I said, we have a full presentation. We're going to tell you a lot today, talk your ear off. So we hope that you find it very beneficial for starting your studies and understanding how things work. So first off, I just want to congratulate you on taking this important step in your life. We do understand how daunting it probably feels. You're probably in that stage where you're scared, maybe a little anxious, pretty uneasy over, all the things you don't know, asking yourself all kinds of doubtful questions right now, like wondering if you can do this or what did I get myself into? And just looking at the time frame can sometimes be daunting and thinking it's going to take forever. So we're hoping the webinar will kind of take some of those unknowns out, make you feel a little more comfortable and confident while completing your program, and hopefully get you successfully obtaining that credential one day. And hopefully you are one of the people in this photo in the future. So really, you really do want to begin with the end in mind. You've obviously set your goal. You've come here for a reason and a purpose. Just don't lose sight of that goal. We're here to help you, so let us help you achieve that. So again, I mentioned my name is Cheryl and I coordinate the advising services office here in the business undergraduate faculty. I've been with the university for over 20 years, and there's a team of 6 senior program advisors behind the scenes ready to assist you anytime. I completed my Bachelor of Commerce the traditional bricks and mortar institution way, and then I actually completed our MBA program the online way in 2016. So the years are flying by, but I do understand a lot of what you're going through, like I said, and just a lot of things you'll run into along the way or things you might need to know that you don't even know you need to know. So now that I know you know a little bit about me, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll and try to find out a little bit more about you as well, maybe what you're interested in, what you've maybe already applied to with us, or if you're still thinking about applying to a program. We do kind of try to make this session a little interactive and get you doing a couple of polls here for us throughout. Helps us gain a better understanding of who's attending today. So I do have Fraser Andrews with me as well today. He's the other presenter that will be helping me, and he is one of our senior program advisors. And he just wants to say a quick hello.
Hi everybody, thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'll chime in a bit later on in the presentation, but yeah, that's it for me for now.
Thanks, Fraser. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and, well, there's still a few of you voting, but I'll go ahead and close this and see. So, okay, so about 70% of you have said you've enrolled in the BCom, Bachelor of Commerce. About 18% of you are in the Bachelor of Management, or B-Man or B-Management, you'll sometimes hear us call it. 3% are in a program other than business, so that's great. I'm glad you attended today. Lots of the information will still apply to you, even if you aren't in the business program, like the main resources and how to access myAU and DegreeWorks and all that. It's just who you're going to contact for service would be different, so you have to kind of keep that in mind. And yeah, about 9% of you are in certificate programs. So yeah, we have a big array of different sort of program students with us today. So that's great. Like I said, most of the information is applicable to all of you anyway, so we're glad you could join us here today. Curiously, no one has said they have not yet enrolled. So there you go. So we're going to assume that everybody's already enrolled and you're kind of looking to find out what's next, because I know you apply and then you kind of sit there and you don't know what your next steps are. I like just putting up this COVID-19 information for you. We're definitely not getting into that today or any of the details, but I just want to make sure it's accessible to you and you can access any of these links right from any of our Athabasca University web pages as well. It's a big orange banner at the top if you need information on how we're responding to the pandemic and online exam writing and things like that. Okay, so like I said, if you've enrolled in a program, now what? What's your next steps? So this is just an overview of what we'll be covering today. Who are our program students? Understanding myAU, the student portal, planning your course load and schedule. We'll go over how to use DegreeWorks. That's when Fraser will come in and show you all the different areas there that are tools to support you throughout your studies and understand your program requirements. We'll go over how to register once you know what all those requirements are and how to read a syllabus. And then we'll explain how to access all the various services that are available to you as well. So you should get a lot out of today's session and feel a lot more confident in what you know by the end. So I like going over a little bit about who are our program students, just so you really don't feel alone. We are a bit different, I'm sure, as you're realizing as well, just in the flexibility we offer and our open admission policy as well. And the flexibility we offer, and this stat really relates to that, where 84% of you are working while you study. So for some of you, you come to us because you are working and you need to be able to do this on the side or when you have free time. So that just really speaks to who our student body is. This is another really cool one that I like to highlight, is that 31% of our grads are the first in their family to earn a degree. This really speaks to our mission as well, and open access to education. Average age is 33, so again, it goes with that demographic of, the more mature individual, probably already in the workforce, but wanting to expand on their skills or education, maybe get that promotion you're thinking about, or maybe changing career paths altogether. And this just speaks to a little bit about where our students are largely distributed. So Alberta, Ontario are the two largest provinces we find our students in, but really we're all over. And this map that you're seeing right now with all the blue dots on it is actually real data of where our students are. Okay, so yeah, I just find it's important and help you feel like you aren't on your own. There's over 40,000 students coming to us from all over the place. And just to know that we're also a reputable institution. We were established by the government of Alberta way back in 1970. We just had our 50th anniversary year last year. So yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. Used to be print-based, mail you out your course type correspondence type courses, and has transitioned over the years to being almost completely online. Okay, so a little bit about the portal now and understanding myAU. So whenever you hear someone say myAU, this is what we're talking about. You will see this icon and this link, the blue and orange, again, basically on every web page we have. Links you to all your student information and anything to do with your student record with us, or any activity you need registration-wise type stuff. So you really need to be going in myAU frequently. You probably are all kind of familiar with it when you applied, as it would have taken you here as well. But yeah, when you first log in, you'll log in with your with your password will be your birth date, and then it asks you to automatically reset that. So it's very important that you remember that password. You're going to be using it a lot, so make sure it's one you're going to remember and you're familiar with, but it's fairly easy to reset it now as well. Once you're logged in, you should see a screen similar to this one, and I actually just updated these screenshots, so it should be pretty current with what you're seeing on your end. The top left will say welcome with your name in there, though. That's how you know you're logged in and you're seeing your own student record details. The first upper left panel is going to show any courses you've registered in. So my courses. So this student, for example, is in CMIS 245 right now. That's how they go access their course. Grades, student support, the syllabus, anything to do with that course is located there, and that's how you access your course. If there was more than one course you were registered in, you would see them here as well. So your first tip of the day as well is when you do access your course, that link that says course in there, you want to make sure that you are bookmarking that or adding it as a favorite once you're on the actual course site, because sometimes myAU might be down, for example, and you might still be able to access your course as long as you have that course site link directly. So make sure you have both ways of getting in. So hopefully you don't run into any problems when things do go down. Okay, the next section is anything to do with your student records. So you'll see the different areas there. Manage your courses, manage your program, manage your student records. We'll go into a little bit of those. But again, I would really encourage you to take some time, either after the webinar, maybe later this evening, and devote some time to just looking at your own myAU account and what is in here. So you're not so overwhelmed of where to find something when you do need it, or you say, oh yeah, I remember that was in myAU. So we basically just want to be able to direct you and you can recall where to go when you do need stuff. We don't expect you to remember everything we're telling you here today. Okay, so under manage your courses, see that has anything to do with your courses. So that's where you go to register in a course, get a course extension, if you have to withdraw from a course, any of that stuff that's related to your course activity is going to be in this section. Under manage your program, you'll see that's where you can change your program. Maybe you applied to the wrong program, or maybe you changed your mind. The only big thing there is please pay attention to that note that says before changing your program, please contact an advisor. So that'd be someone like us here in the Faculty of Business. We really want you reaching out before you pull that trigger and change your program. Sometimes we can give you more information and details before you change your program. Once you change it, you're kind of affected by that change. You're making that change formally. So discuss any changes you're thinking about with your advisor. That's exactly one of the things we're here for. The next one, that's another big tip, is checking your program admission status. So for many of you on the webinar right now, I am guessing that you applied Many of you are probably getting transfer credits evaluated and you're wondering where things are at or what's going on. You haven't heard anything. This is where you can go check your program admission status. So it's going to tell you if we've received your transcripts or not, or what stage of admission you're in. If it's still showing a W, that's just kind of on our end, a web banner admission. It just means no one's really touched your file yet. It has to get to our enrollment services team. So until they touch that, you won't really see the different codes. And that's taking about a month to process. So just keep in mind you've applied, you have open admission, you are in, you're accepted, you're a student. It's just verifying all the credits that may apply or what route of a program you're eligible for, those sorts of things that have to be sorted out and finalized once our enrollment team hits it. So check your program admission status again, especially if you're going to DegreeWorks and you're not seeing any details, go check your program admission status. I bet your evaluation isn't done yet. That's why you're not seeing anything. You won't see anything in DegreeWorks until your admission is finalized and you have no post-secondary, or if you have post-secondary, once your eval is done, once your evaluation is done. So those are kind of the things you have to keep in mind. So the reason why I want you to check that if you are getting transcripts sent in is we don't want you sitting, waiting and thinking like, oh, it's 6 weeks now, my eval should be done any time now, and then realizing we never got your transcripts after you've already been sitting here waiting. So important, very important to check your transcript status and make sure we got them, and then the timeline to complete that evaluation starts from the time we got that transcript. And that's taking about, I think it's 5 weeks now, 6 weeks from the time we get your transcripts. So it kind of gives you an idea of the timelines to expect. That's also, once your transfer credits are completed, that's where you can find your transfer credit details. And again, the link to DegreeWorks, which we're really going to highlight today and promote to you. You want to be using that tool to figure out how that transfer credit fit into your program, what courses you need to take, checks things off for you and applies them where they're supposed to go. It's a really, really neat tool that you're really going to want to use to find out anything to do with your program. Okay, below that is anything to do with managing your student records. So if you need to change in your address or change a password or anything, requesting transcripts. See, maybe you need to send a transcript to another institution or to the CPA office or what have you, then that's where you go to do that as well. So just have to remember anything or any activity related to your student account or what's going on with you as a student is going to be in myAU. Oh, I guess I had a bigger slide for this so you could see it a little larger. So hopefully you were able to see some of that. But yeah, there's some other areas there as well. So again, I would just encourage you to go look at some of this after as well. It's where you go get your tax receipts, things like that. And the Office 365 one's another big tip I want to give you, because once you're registered in a course, you're going to get full access to your own Office 365 resources and your own assigned AU email address. So you don't have to go out and buy Office 365 or anything. That is going to be provided to you once you register in a course. Okay, I'm going to skip back a screen because then we're going to go to the top right. So students tend to focus on that left-hand side because that's kind of applicable to them. But the stuff on the right-hand side is applicable as well. That's where we'll give you any messages that apply more generally across the whole student body or things you need to be aware of, things like that. So you'll see like it says no requests for paper-based exams are being processed, all kinds of notices, holiday hours, when we're closed, things like that will all be in here. So you do want to be checking myAU on a frequent basis or regular basis. And then if you were to scroll down that bottom right-hand panel as well, you'd see the link that said e-letters. E-letters are your electronic letters that we send you. They're only accessible for 6 months. So you have to keep that in mind as well. If you want a copy of it for whatever reason, you can download it and keep that or save it for your own records, but they're only here for 6 months. So these are just some examples of different letters you would get. If you're trying to find information, this is probably where it's going to be. And another thing this area does is it tells us if you've accessed them or not. So we'll know if you have read that letter or not. So that's myAU in a nutshell. A little bit more about our flexibility, because I know it can be confusing for students, especially maybe you've never taken post-secondary before, or maybe you have and you did it the traditional way and you really don't know how things work here or how to get started. So it's really going to be up to you. And students aren't used to this type of flexibility in their education, but you're going to pick how many courses you want, how many at a time, when you're going to take them. It's all kind of left up to you. So the only disclaimer I would put out there for you today is for any of you going through student finance and going through financial aid to get a student loan, you will have restrictions and stipulations put on you that wouldn't apply to others that are just paying on their own as they go and have the total flexibility. So you just have to keep that in mind. I'll try to point out as I say things how it may differ for a funded student. So courses start on the first of each month and we go all year long. So we aren't based on semesters or terms or anything like that. You're never waiting for a course. The big thing to remember is the 10th of the month is always the deadline to get an official start date of the first of the next month. So April 10th, for example, will be our next cutoff. You'd have to register by in order to receive a May 1st start date. And then you're allowed 6 months from that May 1st contract to complete anything to do with that course, complete whatever the assessment is for that course. If you get it done sooner, great. It's all at your own pace. So like I said, it's totally flexible. If you get it done sooner and you're done, great. You can move on, register in the next one. So again, for funded students, a little different because you will have to be registered in so many courses at a time, and you might be restricted to a 4-month time frame versus 6 months, that sort of thing. So it's important you understand all of that and go through those details with your financial aid advisor here as well, who will be assigned to you. So again, it's pretty unique, very flexible. Students really aren't used to it, but that is a big reason, I am sure, why you came to us as well. Now, let's say it's the 11th of the month and you're freaking out because you missed the 10th cutoff. There's no need to really freak out unless you have some deadline that you had to give to an employer or something like that. But I mean, if you're doing it at your own pace and paying for it on your own, what you're actually doing is buying yourself more time in a way, because once you register, the day you register and pay is really when we're going to say, okay, we're going to give you access to this course. So within a day or two, you're going to have access to that course in most circumstances and be able to start on it, start working on it. The official start date really is just important for us, as that's when your academic support begins. So you won't get any academic assistance from our faculty until that official start date. You can't hand in things for marking, those kinds of things until that date, but you could have something ready to go for whenever your official course contract start date is. So I hope that helps explain that a lot better for you. Okay, now I'll get into a little bit about planning your course load and study schedule. Full-time and part-time status. So this is where I'll explain this a little bit more about whether you're funded or not. So a full-time student, when we talk about full-time, normally takes between 3 and 6 3-credit courses at a time. A part-time student is anyone who takes fewer than that. For taxation or Alberta student finance purposes, students who register in a minimum of 3 3-credit courses over a 4-month period, or you can be in 4 3-credit courses over a 6-month period, to be considered full-time. So see how those time frames kind of adjust and differ depending whether you're going through financial aid or not. So again, another difference with any of you going through financial aid is you register through your financial aid advisor directly. You do not go through myAU and register for your courses that way. And really, if you make an error and you go on myAU and try to register that way, you should really know that's not the way to go, because it's going to ask you for payment. And you shouldn't be paying for your course if you're getting a student loan for it and going through financial aid. It should be going through them. So that should remind you, like, oh yeah, I think I have to go through my financial aid advisor. So should be pretty clear because they outline the steps really well for you as you go through the process. But those are some differences there. Program length. You're probably wondering, how long is this program going to take me? The program length itself is based on a full-time student taking 10 courses per year. So for example, like the BCom, Bachelor of Commerce, states it's a 4-year degree program. If you're starting from scratch with no transfer credit, so that means your program has 40 courses in total. So in order to make that a 4-year program, that means you're taking 10 courses a year to get done in 4 years. Most of our students are not taking 10 courses a year. If you take fewer than the 10, then you just have to keep in mind that it's going to take you longer to complete, and you're going to have to adjust your time frames and what you're thinking as to what your completion date might be. There is no time limit on how long it takes you to complete your program. We're not going to kick you out in 5 years, for example, provided you remain an active student and you remain active by taking at least 1 course per year. You'll always be in those program regulations at the time you applied, and you'll be an active student in your program, okay? Another thing that can reduce your program length, obviously, is if you have any transfer credits for assessing. If you have a diploma, for example, you're transferring in, that could reduce that in half, for example. So it all depends on your own circumstances as well and the amount of transfer credit you're bringing in. So keep those things in mind when you're thinking about program length. Course loads and how many to take. So the number of courses you start with is your decision. Again, as long as you're not going through financial aid. You can take a maximum of 6 at one time before the system starts blocking you and won't let you register in anymore. But if you're working full-time, this is your first time taking a course by distance learning, we really are suggesting you start with 1 course. Get a feel for how everything works, how much time you need, where to find things, how to request exams, all those things that are going to come up throughout your first course. Then it won't seem so overwhelming or daunting when you only have 1 going. And once you're comfortable with online studies, you can always register in additional courses at any time, like I mentioned in the previous slide. So it's, like I said, it's that flexibility that's really going to make a difference for you. Use it to your advantage. The other advantage of having courses start at different times is that it's going to stagger your end times as well. So you're not doing all your exams at the same time. You're not, you're spreading everything out over different months rather than having everything due at the same time. But again, it's up to you. Maybe you're more focused with the more pressure you put on yourself. And that's why it can be as flexible as you want it to be, really. But again, your time frames for completing your program are going to differ too. If you're only taking 1 course a year, it's going to take you a lot longer to finish that program versus trying to get 5 done in a year even. See how big of a difference that can make to your studies. My big thing I suggest to students as well is, just always make sure you try to always have 1 going. You might be busier at certain times of the year. Maybe you work in an accounting office and it's tax season, you're not going to have any time. That's great. Then adjust for that and know, okay, I'm going to have to do more over the summer and the winter to account for that. So that's how you can start thinking about how to plan out your program and how to plan out your courses for you and what's going to work for you. Okay, study time, because you probably really don't know what to expect. But as a guideline, we tell you to expect to spend anywhere from 10 to 20 hours of study time per week per course. So of course, some are going to take you less time, some are going to take you more. It's all going to depend on your comprehension and knowledge of that subject matter. Maybe some material really clicks for you, whereas other stuff doesn't. Maybe you know, like, oh, finance is going to be a really difficult one for me, for example. Then know that, plan that, put in the extra time into your schedule when you know you're taking it. And another big thing is to ensure you use the academic support and services available to you as you need it. So don't get hung up. When you hit that wall, lean against it, reach out to us, let us know you need the help. That's exactly what you're paying for. You have academic assistance here. You have faculty with PhDs ready to help you with that course content. So really, it's part of your fee. So make sure you're using it and getting the value out of that. Okay, and selecting your courses and what you need to know. So it's really important you understand clearly what's needed for you to take for your program. We want you following the program regulations in place at the time of your admission. And that's what DegreeWorks is really going to help you with. You don't need to go look at that specific calendar or try to find your regulations. It is all in your own DegreeWorks worksheet, and it's going to identify what you need to take, check off requirements completed as you progress. It really takes the guesswork out of what you need. And a couple other tips: don't compare your program to your friends. They could have applied even a different month and been in different regulations than you are. They might have transfer credits that you don't have. Things can apply differently, totally. And the other mistake I see students making is they'll go on the website, look at the BCom program, look at the list of courses, and start taking the courses according to what's on the web right now. Again, that could totally differ from when you had applied and what was required at that time. So DegreeWorks, DegreeWorks, DegreeWorks. We're going to really emphasize that for you today. Or advisor, advisor, advisor. That's exactly what Fraser is here for as well, is to help explain anything, or maybe you're not getting something in DegreeWorks. That is exactly what we are here for as well. Okay, a little bit about terminology and what your program's made up of, especially for those of you that have maybe never done post-secondary or don't know what all these different things are saying when you see them in your program. Required courses are just that. They're specific courses that must be completed as part of your program. They are required that you do that specific course. So they'll have a specific name and number, like Admin 232, Intro to Management, for example. You don't have a choice, basically, is what we're saying. Elective courses are a little more flexible because there'll be a specified list of courses you get to choose from, or a narrower list to choose from, but they're still a little restrictive because there'll have to be certain ones or certain subjects, those sorts of things. Option courses are not optional. What option courses mean is that they're kind of courses outside of required courses, electives. They're going to be courses in whatever discipline we're telling you to take them in, whatever area of study, and whatever level. So they're open more as to what you want to select and take outside of business, usually, is what those options are. You always have to keep in mind when you're adding up your courses that your courses are made up of requirements, options, electives, or any combination of all of that. But remember how many credits you actually need for your program and how many courses that actually equates to. You should be able to realize there's a spot for each course, or each 3 credits in your program spots. Okay, prerequisites. Prerequisites indicate knowledge you should already have, and you need to declare you have that when you register in order to get registered into that next course. So it's telling you you need to have this course in order to proceed in this one, or this, and this in order to proceed in this one. And that's where the syllabus is going to indicate all of these things for you, and Fraser will go into that right away. The level of study is just the different levels, different years basically is what we're assigning to each level. Preparatory courses are 100 number. Junior level is anything with a 200 number. Senior levels, anything with a 300 or 400 number, or generally those would be considered like third or fourth year courses. Area of study, again, there's different areas of study, and I list those there for you. Business and administrative studies is one of those areas. This becomes really important when you come to your options. Requireds are spelled out for you, right? They're going to be specific. You know you have to do that exact course. It's when it comes to options that you have to make sure you're looking at the right area and the right level of study. Again, DegreeWorks will point you to the right area. The only thing it can't do is point you to the right level. So we're pretty descriptive in there, and we'll tell you, you must select from this level, go here. But once you get there, it can't, unfortunately, just list that level for you. It's going to list for you every business and administrative studies course, for example. And you have to know what level you're supposed to pick from when you're in there. The other area you'll see is non-business and administrative studies, which is anything that's not in business and administrative studies. And that includes anything in the humanities, sciences, social sciences. So that's where you'll find things like English, history, psychology, women's studies, all kinds of different things. We really want you to have some breadth to your program, so that's why you have to take options. We don't want you just focusing on business. We want you to be a well-rounded, well-versed student in other areas as well. Okay, so do not registers and exemptions. So this will only apply to those of you that are having transfer credits assessed, and more specifically for those of you that have maxed out your transfer credit or have diplomas you're transferring in, for example. Do not registers are just going to be courses that we're saying you already hold equivalence to from somewhere else. Therefore, you can't take them again as options or to fulfill any spots in your program like exemptions. So do not register, pretty self-explanatory. Do not register in any of these courses with us. We're going to tell you what that course you took is equivalent to here, and you can't take it again for credit here. So we spell those out for you. Exemption is like a do not register, but it's for a remaining required course in your program. So you might be saying, well, how can that happen? Well, it's because we've already granted you, let's say, the maximum we can for your diploma. Maybe your diplomas were 60 credits. We gave you 60 credits, but you still have these other 60 credits to do for the BCom. And part of that is some of these required courses that we recognize you already had equivalence to in your diploma. You still need those credits in order to fill all those spots I mentioned, and all the credits need to add up to your program total. So you need to replace those credits. So this is a little more flexible as well. We're going to tell you, hey, you already did this course, you can't register in it, it's a do not register, but we call it exempt because you need to replace those credits, and you'll replace it with a course in the same area of study at the same level or higher. So let's say you get an exemption for accounting 351 or intermediate accounting. You have an accounting diploma. So you get to replace that instead with any course in that area. So accounting is in the business and administrative studies area. So you replace it with that area. Doesn't necessarily have to be another accounting course. Just has to be in the same area, has to be at the same level or higher. So as accounting 351, it's going to have to be a 300 level or higher. So those are probably the only or the most confusing things I would say I get as questions from students as well, is not understanding what that means. Exemptions are good. They mean we're recognizing you've already taken equivalent courses, so maybe you don't have to take that finance course again, or maybe you don't have to take stats again. The only thing that comes into play there as well is stale dating. So if you've taken anything senior business more than 10 years ago, we might stale date it and you might still have to take it again. So those kind of some rules that come into play when we're assessing your transfer credits. Okay, with that, my voice is getting a little croaky. You're probably getting a little tired of hearing from me. So I'm going to change it over to Fraser, and he'll talk to you about understanding the course syllabus and all that information I was telling you, where to find it, and about DegreeWorks. So welcome, Fraser.
Thanks, Cheryl. Thanks everybody for joining us
I'm seeing
in
your wrong
training
screen.
day today. You are okay.
Mhm.
What are we gonna do? Okay, let's try the swap. Did that help? Did that do it?
Nope, I'm seeing your
Nope.
desktop
Oh
screen.
no. Okay. Oh boy. If I bring this over here, is that what we need to do?
Yeah, except I still see the presenter view.
You're seeing the presenter. Okay, so now we're gonna do the swap and it's gonna work. Yeah? We good?
Yes, yep, you got it. Nailed it.
Nice. Ah, okay. So, yeah, thanks, Cheryl. I'm one of our program advisors here in the Faculty of Business, and I work on a team with some other folks who do advising as well. So if you do have questions or things that come up, you want to talk to somebody about course selection or any of these kind of things, you may speak to me or one of my colleagues who are all great. But for today, what we're going to focus on is going to be DegreeWorks and sort of talk around the idea of registering in a course and sort of a few things that are good to do if you feel you might be ready to do that. So in the last slide, Cheryl was speaking a little bit about some of the requirements within your program. And so if you're considering a course to take, looking over a syllabus is always a really, really great place to start. So what we have on the slide there is the image of the syllabus, which is going to be available online with our university all the time. All the courses that the university offers are going to have a syllabus that's going to be available. So the first thing at the top is going to be the course title. And so this one's Introduction to Management, and it's got the revision there. That revision may not be super important right away, but if you're ever retaking a course and you need to find out what revision the course is in, that's where that's located. And then it has that course code in big orange letters at the top, ADMN for administration, and 232. So by 232, we can tell this is a junior level course. And then moving down a little bit into some of these details, we can go to the area of study and go, okay, this is a junior level business course. This course is required for all of our business programs. It's unlikely that you'd have this as an option, but if you're in a certificate, it's possible that you may look into that. Something else that you'll notice in the syllabus is that it identifies that this is a 3-credit course. That is the system that we use here in Alberta. If you're coming to us from Ontario, you may be used to the full credit and half credit system. Our half credit courses are 3-credit courses, and most all of our business courses, in fact, all of our business courses are 3 credits. Some of your options, you may be able to find some 6-credit courses there. So just something to keep an eye on if you're working on a DegreeWorks worksheet, putting some courses together, planning what you want to take, and things aren't quite adding up. You may have a 6-credit course in there, or you may want to take a 6-credit course to fill up some of your options. It can go either way. Next, it identifies that there's not a prerequisite for this particular course, but if there was, it's going to tell us what is there. Also, too, if there's not a prerequisite, sometimes there are recommendations, solid suggestions that say, no, this isn't an absolute prerequisite, but it's a really good idea if you have this course first. So always a good idea to look into those kinds of things. I'm going to move to the next slide, and that's sort of just as if we were to scroll down on that syllabus webpage on our website. And that brings us to the evaluation section of the syllabus. Always a really, really important thing to look over before you're going to get into a course. The evaluation lets us know what's involved in this course. It tells us the graded elements. And so for this one, it's got 2 assignments, a midterm, and a final exam. So this is one example, but courses are different. Some courses just have a final, some just have assignments, some have quizzes, and it also lets us know what the weight is. So if a course is really heavy on the exam, you're going to kind of keep it in your mind that, okay, that's going to be a long time to prep for that exam, because that's the majority of the course is sort of in exams, versus another course that may be more assignment heavy. And so it's a way to sort of look at a course and kind of think about your strengths and decide if this is something that you're ready to do at the moment, or maybe something you want to do at another time when you've got a bit more time, or something you may be able to do with other things on the go. Sort of just kind of adds into that flexibility element and helps you plan things out. And then at the bottom, it lets us know that the course has an e-textbook under course materials. The majority of our courses are e-textbook these days, which is really great. It allows that early access that Cheryl was speaking about earlier. Within a day or two after registering, you're going to be able to go and start reading through that book. But if the course is still a physical textbook, we do still have some of those. Other faculties have got probably more than we do. One of the examples I can think of for business courses, if you're taking tax, that's still going to be a physical book. And what happens there is you're going to get that book in the mail. And so just another thing to keep in mind that, oh, it's a physical book, right? I'm not going to get that within 2 days and sort of have that expectation of being able to just jump on that course and hit the ground running in the same sort of way. So that's, of course, syllabus. We're going to move on now and have a look at DegreeWorks. And with that, I'm going to launch a poll to find out if you fine folks, have had a chance to have a look at DegreeWorks yet. Looks like some have. Oh, maybe. Okay. Looks like we got no's. No's are in the lead now. Coming down the stretch. Oh, yes is making a strong return. Okay, so it's sort of in that yes, no, and then there's a small percentage, about 11% have accessed it, but there's no information was available. That last group, that 10%, we can kind of sort of help you out a little bit and kind of speak to that as we go through and sort of give that indication there. So we're over 80% have voted. I think that's probably fair to move on and go. So for about half of you, this is really great. You're going to get a little kind of sneak peek into DegreeWorks and see kind of what it looks like. So this is a DegreeWorks folder from an actual student. Some of it's been blacked out so that, you know, obviously the FOIP, and you can't really see the names of the student. But the sort of the broad strokes in DegreeWorks, it's going to give you all of the program requirements for your program. So it's going to list your required courses. It's going to show you your options. It's going to identify those exemptions that Cheryl was mentioning earlier. We really can't, as program advisors, we can't say enough about DegreeWorks. We just encourage students to check it early and often, and the fact that we can see the DegreeWorks profile and you can see the DegreeWorks profile and it's shared is just sort of a fantastic touch point when we're speaking with students and helping out. So diving in, under the program requirements right at the top, there's some fine print there. So it just identifies that there's 120 credits total for the program, and then the first thing it says is you currently have 69 and you need 51. So that's a great thing for DegreeWorks. It's just totaling up your progress, letting you know how many courses you've got, how many you need to complete the program. Keep in mind that DegreeWorks is always going to count those in progress courses as courses that you have. So if you're looking at it and going like, hey, I haven't finished this course yet, that doesn't add up, it's likely that that's what DegreeWorks is meaning there. It gives the students an indication of their GPA. It's not always 100% accurate. So if you see something with your GPA that you're not sure about, that's a good reason to get in touch with us here at Program Advising and speak to that. And then the next one, if you can see that there, it's going to identify the residency requirement. That's a really important thing to understand, that there are a certain amount of courses that you need to complete at Athabasca University in order to be awarded an Athabasca University degree. It may be a little different based on your program, but it's going to identify that in DegreeWorks and let you know what that requirement is. And then there's another one there that's a requirement for 400 level courses. So again, these kind of notes and things, it's really good when you first get access to go in and just read through everything, sort of help kind of sort it out, have a look and see what's there. But again, if you've got questions, definitely let us know. So within DegreeWorks, anytime we see green check marks, we know something is finished. That's awesome. We love those green check marks or the boxes with the check mark inside it. The other things there, going by the legend, if something is still needed or is not complete yet, it's just sort of a red outline, but a white box. It's kind of empty, but it's in red, so we can see it and know that that's something that we need to complete. And then it shows us those in progress courses, which are blue with the squiggly lines. So moving to the next slide, it's as if we have scrolled. No, there we go. We've scrolled down a little bit into the students' program requirements. And so further down, we see that in progress taxation course. But if you look at the accounting major section, as an example, you see that they've been exempt from accounting 351 and 352. So that, if you see some of those in your program, you can kind of maybe sort of understand a little better what those are about. And then with that, on the right of where it says still needed, it says you must replace this course with senior level business administrative studies course in that area, but that's a link, and that's going to link you to a list of all of the business courses that will fulfill that exemption. As Cheryl mentioned before, do have to be careful because it's not going to weed out the junior level courses. It's going to show you just all the business administrative courses, and it's sort of our job as advisors and students to make sure that we're picking senior level courses to meet those exemption requirements. There are little things in here, notes that are important. It's making a suggestion that students take an ethics course with their senior level non-business option. Yeah, it's great to go in and check all of those. And then the last one that in DegreeWorks we're going to look through is what we call the fall through section. This is the very bottom of the page. And so it identifies those exemptions we were chatting about. It lets students know if they've already taken a course, not to register in that course because they can't get credit for it twice. And so those are those do not registers that we see there. If you're a student that's come to us from a college, you likely will have some things in your fall through section. If you don't have any transfer credit, we're not likely going to see anything in here, or we would hope that we're not going to see anything in here. There is the third column over our numbers, and we see all zeros here. That's just indicating that there's nothing that's counting there for credit. If you do see any threes in there, that might be a good reason to ask some questions or look into that. That just indicates that there is a course with potential credit. Something may not be counting, so something may not just be working within DegreeWorks, or maybe an extra degree course that you know about, but something to look for there. And at the very bottom, there are notes. Usually that comes from the advisor who worked on your transfer credit evaluation. And in this case, they're just letting the student know that they've achieved the maximum amount of transfer credit for their diploma. That's a good thing, and they don't have any room to take any more courses for transfer credit. It's all got to be through AU. That's referring to the residency requirement that we were mentioning earlier. So moving on, we're going to look through some of the features of DegreeWorks. This is a shot at the planner feature. And what this allows students to do is go through and pick the courses that they plan to take to meet their program requirements. There are a few ways to work through the planner section. You can go through term by term, fill in every single course to complete the entire program if you wish. It's not a requirement, and students do lots of different things with it. Some use it to let us know as program advisors what they plan to take next for a term. So they would submit just 3 or 4 courses, kind of just saying like, hey, I'm thinking about these next, and then submit it for approval. What do you think? Students will go with a whole year worth of courses, a couple of terms, and some, like I said, kind of just need to see how it's going to end before they finish and kind of plan it all. There's no real wrong way to go about that. I will say that as advisors, we don't pay a lot of attention to when the students plan to take the courses. So there's a section here that they can fill in. This example is May of 2021. The student's planning to take this full term there. That doesn't concern us so much as things like meeting prerequisites, making sure they're all in line, and then just the overall picture for making sure the student is getting all of their options in and meeting all of their required courses. So if you do go into to your planner, you'll want to give it a title in the description here and give it some information. You do have to submit terms, and then there's this button down here to save the plan. And so when it's saved, you've got the option to either submit it for approval, or you can just save it and keep it for yourself. If you do submit it for approval, it kicks out on our side, and myself or one of my colleagues will review it and let you know, and it'll either be approved and sort of on file as approved, or if there are things that are not quite right, we'll give you some feedback, make some suggestions as to how to get everything in line, and then hopefully get that approved for you. Yeah, and a tip also, when we're working on these planners, the idea is to include courses that we haven't taken yet. So it's not really necessary to include courses you've already taken or things that might be in progress. It works best when we're just saying, hey, we're planning to take this in the next little while, and that's what's included on the planner. Another feature of DegreeWorks is the look ahead, and so that's available through this little menu on the side over here. And that's just a really quick way to identify if a course you're considering taking is going to meet your program requirements or not. You would fill in the section, whoops, that's not the slide I want. You would fill in the subject, that's that 4-letter course code, and as well as the number, the 3-digit number there, and then add course, and then process new. And what it'll do, it'll show you your DegreeWorks, but it'll include that course. So if it's going to slot in as a senior level business option, it'll show you where that would be, or if it's a required course, or like meet one of the electives, it'll just kind of pop it into the spot where it needs to go. Okay, so this one is a little bit of a recap, sort of asking yourself if you're ready to be registered in a course, and so some questions to kind of to ask. So if you do have previous post-secondary education, have you requested an evaluation? No, well, you may not be ready to do that because we would want to have a look and figure out if you're going to get transfer credit. We don't want to kind of double up on anything. If yes, have you received your evaluation results? If you have, you would have received an email from us here in business advising, letting you know that your evaluation results are done. And if that's the case, you're ready to go in, and you should have access to your full DegreeWorks planner. If not, you may be in that case that we were talking about earlier, where you have access to DegreeWorks, but you just don't really see anything. It's just more or less a blank page. If you have requested an evaluation, it could mean that your evaluation results are not in yet. We just, you haven't been through the queue to get that. It could also mean that you haven't requested an evaluation, but your enrollment is still in progress. So if that's the case, if you're really interested to get started in a course, and you do want to go ahead with that in the near future without waiting, let us know. Get in touch with us at Program Advising. We can try to help make some suggestions, potentially help find you a course to get started in. It may be a bit tricky or not, depending on your situation, but it is pretty individualized. So that's a great thing to chat with us about. And then lastly, when you do decide on a course you're going to take, you've read through the syllabus, you've figured out all that kind of stuff, you checked in DegreeWorks, you maybe check the look ahead, you're pumped, you're ready to go. The one thing that DegreeWorks can't actually do is register you in the course. So you do have to go back to myAU and just use that register in a course link, and then complete the course information with sort of that information that we've talked about, course code and course number and all that good stuff. So I'm going to throw it back to Cheryl. She's going to talk about Sanjesh a little bit, who is one of our students. And yeah, you'll sort of hear more from me at the end when we got questions. We'll kind of trade off and address that at the time.
Great, thanks, Fraser. Yeah, my apologies as we are already up on the hour. I told you we had a lot to go through. So hopefully
Oh
you can
no.
stick around a little longer. Um, and we're just going to go over now more of the other resources, main resources across the institution and other things to know about. If you have a question, you can't stick around, go ahead and chat it in the box. And like I said, I'll send you a recording. You'll get that answer anyway. Um, and yeah, so hopefully you can stick around a little bit longer and get some more helpful information here. So yeah, Sanjesh is just a good profile of one of our students that really focuses on that flexibility there yet again. Okay, so when you do need help, where do you go? We want you going, so this is those of you in a business program, we want you going to our Faculty of Business Student Support Center. It is our one-stop shop for all your needs or any of your questions. Our phone lines are open every day but Saturday, and they kind of funnel all your core requests through to the other areas that help you. So there's the frontline student advisors. That's who you'll contact when you get directly to the Student Support Center. Then there's a senior program advisors. So Fraser, for example, is one of that team of advisors that answers course selection things about DegreeWorks, transfer credit, all those sorts of things. Then there's another team, our academic experts and faculty support. So anything content related with your course or questions. Another hint I will give you, or tip, I guess, is when you do have a course content question and you're putting a request through the Student Support Center, whether you're calling or maybe doing through the online contact form or however you're doing it, be as specific as possible as you can, because they have 2 business days response time to get back to you, and you don't want there to be a lot of back and forth, right? So if you're very specific, say, I really didn't understand this calculation on question 3 of this page. How did you arrive at that? This is what I'm getting. You know, the more specific you can be, the better. Lots of times students, I would say, are too general in their question, or maybe they're just not understanding the concept completely. We'll explain that and what it is. The better response you're going to get back, you know. There's also a technical area that can send requests through. Maybe you're not able to access your course or a video link or whatever as well. So you don't need to know all those different areas. You really just need to know Student Support Center and how to contact them. So I'll have all that contact information here in a bit as well. And the other key supports across the university, across AU, we have similar supports as you would find at any traditional bricks and mortar type institution. So there's a counseling services area. So they handle everything from career planning, time management, career cruising resources, mastering exam anxiety, all kinds of different things going on there. So check out their pages. They have a lot of useful information, and they have counselors available to assist you as well. And accessibility services, they handle all kinds of things. Maybe you need certain accommodations for your course. It can range anywhere, you know, from a learning disability to vision impairment or hearing impairment, all kinds of different things. Sometimes there's other things going on in your life that need accommodation as well. So that area deals with all of those things. There's a full library that you can access, journals, resources, everything you need for your courses. A full write site helps you with your writing skills, and a math site to help prep your math skills and where you're at with those. So again, if you download the PDF, you're going to have all these links, or again, anytime you need any of this information, feel free to contact our Student Support Center. The other thing I want to highlight that I really don't like highlighting it, but it's important to understand all the different types of academic offenses that are, you know, just here. There's plagiarism, cheating, collusion. We really just want you to know right up front, right from the start, what those are, what those offenses are, and understand the risks involved in those. The right side, again, has a really good resource on avoiding plagiarism. If you're ever wondering if you're plagiarizing, always ask, before you submit any coursework, that sort of thing. Same with all kinds of different things, like maybe you're copying someone's assignment. We do have the means to find those things, and unfortunately, we find them all the time, and we're quite adamant about doing so, as we want to ensure our reputation and credibility are always in line and equal to any other institution as well. So we do have means to find those things as well. And definitely we want to be shaking your hand at convocation time. We do not want to be dealing with these types of cases. So again, social media handles, of course we have all those. Who doesn't have those these days? You'll find any of those on our Faculty of Business homepage. So business.athabascau.ca, and you scroll down to find our own specific social media handles rather than the main AU ones. So these are all ours. Another one, I'm going to suggest you download an app for the AU Students Union. The AU Students Union app is awesome. It has a chat feature. Our students use it a lot to reach out and connect, ask about courses or who's working on what, that kind of stuff. So definitely download that one as well and stay in touch. Become involved. Just because we're online doesn't mean you can't get involved in things. We're always hosting different webinars and events, case competitions we participate in, the CPA one, there's Alberta Deans of Business one. There's a CME trading competition as well. So if you want to be involved, you can be as involved as you want to be. We also have a student ambassador, for example, in the CPHR, the HR association for our institution. So there's all kinds of different ways to get involved, and it's really great experience to put on your resume. Okay, so key takeaways, just know your top resources. We've covered them today. You know they're out there, you should know kind of where to find them. But whenever you're coming across difficulty or can't remember or need some help or support, again, just go through our Student Support Center for any questions you have. Again, myAU, Student Support Center, using DegreeWorks. And here is the magic slide of the day, is our Student Support Center information. So there's the toll-free number, the 1-800 number. There's email, there's a web contact form as well. So whatever means you want to reach out to us, they can, of course, can do that. We also have a chat feature on our website as well that's manned by our Student Support Center folks. And like I said, we're open every day but Saturday. So Friday, Sundays. So when you're working on your course and have a question, don't hesitate to get that in, as they can still funnel those off to the academics. So yeah, always here to help you. We want to see you be successful. So we know it is probably seeming like it could be a long road, but really you're doing it. You've taken an important step today. You've reached out, you've attended the webinar, you've learned a little more about how to be successful. So you are doing it. So give yourselves a big pat on the back and know you've taken some steps towards reaching that end goal for yourself. And another word of advice is don't just rely on us either. The larger your support team you can have, the better. Family, friends, colleagues, whenever you're reaching those hurdles and need to get over it, the more personal support you can have as well, the better. So even if you take one course a year, just realize that you're that one course closer than you were the last year. So with that, we're kind of ending our presentation portion. Again, we wish you every success. And yeah, we're here to answer your questions as long as you need. And we'll start going through all those in the question box right away here. So thanks for attending today. And again, I understand if you have to leave, I will send you all the recording afterwards. But go ahead, shoot your questions and ask anything that maybe wasn't clear or you need some further clarification on. Thank you.
All right, we ready to dive into some of these questions? We've got a few that have come in so far.
Mm-hmm.
There was one from Ruwan. He had to leave. Gave us quite a bit of history about himself, but I think the gist of his question was about the Bachelor of Commerce accounting program, and specifically the CPA. And so his question was how many papers will be exempted. That's not really exactly how the whole system works, but as a student who holds the Bachelor of Commerce accounting degree program, that's going to meet the 120 credit degree requirement for the CPA. So that could be a paper of sorts. And then there are required courses that the CPA has, preparatory requirements. And so it's certainly possible to complete a big portion of those preparatory requirements, if not all of them, as part of the Bachelor of Commerce accounting program. So,
Yeah, I
or
put the
one, but
link.
other students, you got a CPA
Yeah, I
detail
think you
link there.
should be saying the CPA site.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And I put the link in the chat as well. So papers for international students, they mean courses, basically is what
Okay.
he's saying. Like he wants to know what it's gonna have to do. So yeah, if you take the BCom accounting program with us, you're almost guaranteed to cover all of those courses that CPA asks for. You want to be a little careful if you have transfer credits coming in or any of that kind of thing, but the listing's all going to be here to tell you exactly what you need to take with us to meet their course requirements in order to get into their professional program. Then there's a whole other step beyond that, but that's through them directly, not us. You need a degree plus all these courses. So here they are. And you always want to be make sure you're accessing this guide. But that's what Fraser's here for. You answer those questions every day.
Yep. Yeah, we're all the time helping students plan to fit those courses into their program, or if they already have a degree, find ways that they can complete those courses to move into the professional education with the CPA. Absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
What's the next question here?
Shaimal's question is about AU email access. Where can I find AU email access? That's a good question. So if you have enrolled in a program and you become an AU student, you should already have an Athabasca .edu email address. The access to it is a good question. I
You
think it's
get it
through
within
myAU.
24 hours of getting your course registration. It's all in here, so I put the link in here.
Okay,
But
so
yeah.
the email address is part of the Office 365 access, so it's all bundled
Mhm.
together.
Mhm. So it
So
says
there
when
you
will
go.
when you'll be ready? So account activation emails within 2 business days of enrollment in an AU course. So there you go. And
So
it's got
that.
all the FAQs here, which are very helpful.
Hmm.
How do I
All right.
activate? Yeah,
Okay.
explains it all.
Tony says, this has been great. Thanks, Tony.
Great.
Thank you for walking through everything. DegreeWorks was very useful. I think when I tried to view it before, there wasn't anything there. I didn't fully understand it. I was going to reach out and see if there was someone to help create a plan. So this is perfect. Absolutely, do that. Yeah, we will help you to do that. Was also great to know that we can register for classes after the 10th and still possibly get a start on the course. Yep, 100%. Melanie says, thank you. This is very informative.
I think we
Amanda
missed
says,
one
I
by
have a meeting
Megan.
with my advisor from Lakeland College on the 30th. Did we? Oh,
Yeah,
we did.
yeah, she's a part-time student with financial aid. Do I only have 4 months to complete a course? With part-time studies, I'm not sure how that works, actually, Megan. Sorry, but um, hmm. Do you know, Fraser? With
My understand,
part-time, it's different
I
because
think I
it's
do.
through
Yeah.
bursaries and things.
It is. It's very different. The whole process, the application process is different, but I believe that a part-time funded student has 6 months to complete courses because they register for them themselves. They don't go through an SFA registration like a full-time student would.
Right. Okay. Again, You
Yep.
really want to be in touch with your financial aid advisor to make sure you understand everything clearly. They are the
They're what you
experts in
call
that field for sure.
experts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, you were going with another one, Lakeland or something.
Yeah, those. I have a meeting with my advisor from Lakeland College on the 30th. Okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, we have a Lakeland College advisor on site there to help you with any of your AU stuff. So that's great.
Okay. And then it looks like Lucy's got a follow-up question. Sounds like kind of getting into that course length SFA question. The question is specifically, are all courses based on a 4-month basis? No, not unless you are a funded student through student financial aid or student loans. In that case, you are full-time study. Yes, your courses would be 4 months. In all other situations, your courses are going to be 6 months. Michael has a question about transfer credits. He says, do certifications give you transfer credits? This would be from SATE, and it's a management certification.
Oh, yeah. Even if it's not a diploma, you could still be obviously eligible for some transfer credits. Just has to be worth credit from your institution. Continuing education type stuff usually doesn't fit in, but you can always check our transfer credit database as well, see if you can find any of that. I'm going to link here to that too. But yeah, you can look up courses or programs you've completed on this handy dandy resource and find out what might be there. And again, yeah, you can always reach out to us and ask those questions as well before you bother getting an evaluation or sending your transcript in. Usually it is worth something.
Yeah, depending on what it is, it's worth having a look at. Next question is from John. He says, where exactly can I access my e-textbooks? Where are those things? I
They
swear I
will
put them
be in your
somewhere.
course, John.
Where did they go?
You know, in myAU, and you showed you where that student was read in CMIS 245, you go into your course site, all your resources are in there. It'll tell you how to access your textbook. So once you're
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a
there should
course, it'll
be
be
a
clear.
link. Yeah, it should be right on the front page of the e-tech of the course website. But if you're still not sure, you're kind of having trouble tracking that down, if you call Student Support Center, they will definitely be able to kind of walk you through that and point you right toward the actual spot where it's located, and also help with downloading your e-text, which is super important these days. Okay, Amanda, follow-up question. I took my diploma in business administration with them with a focus in accounting. So, okay, so this is the Lakeland College. Yeah, Amanda, I mean, you may want to speak to your Lakeland advisor. If you're completed that diploma, you could reach out to us, and we could sort of answer questions that that you've got about that kind of thing. Sarah's question, if I do not have any post-secondary and I am using a student loan, just to clarify, I must contact a program advisor to start a course. Always a good idea to contact a program advisor when you're planning. If you are going to be studying with student loans, you'll need to fill out something called a course registration plan if you haven't already done that. So you'll definitely need to be in touch with your student financial aid advisor regarding your loan details and all those kinds of good things. You're not absolutely required to contact a program advisor, but we would always recommend that you do get in touch and say, hey, these are the courses I'm thinking of from my course registration plan. What do you think? Is this a good start? And just kind of check everything over. We can just kind of make sure that everything you've got is going to count toward the program and kind of be good choices for getting started and moving forward with the program.
Yeah, there's kind of two different steps. Like you can do a plan with us or the planner in DegreeWorks, but that is not what you provide to your financial aid advisor. They have you do something called a course registration plan. So we can tell you what to put on that plan or what courses are okay to take, but there's that separate step that actually goes to your financial aid advisor to tell them what courses you want to register in. So you do definitely have to go to your financial aid advisor in order to get registered. And like Fraser said, we want you to be checking those with us first too.
So Savannah's going to sort of follow up because, well, will they know exactly what I need to take to complete my degree? I'm thinking this is the Lakeland advisor. I mean, if they're able to
Yes.
look at your DegreeWorks with you, they'll be able to help you with that. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So you can see the same things we can if you're meeting with our Lakeland advisor there. Then you are set, and she checks things with us as well. For the life of me, I can't remember her name right now. Do you, Fraser? Oh,
No, at the
it's
moment
changed a few times lately. No, I
it
can't remember.
has. Yeah, I can remember
Oh,
the
it's Brandy.
previous.
Brandy.
Yeah.
Yes, Brandy. If you're meeting with
All
Brandy
right.
Des, then you are set.
Shout out to Brandy, Lakeland. Okay, Lucy's question. Do you have to take all junior courses prior to the other courses? Well, depends on your program and what your requirements are. The first 10 or so courses that you're going to see listed on DegreeWorks in most cases are going to be your introductory courses. They're going to be your foundational courses. Those are going to be the building blocks that the rest of your program is going to be built on. It is a good idea to consider covering all those introductory courses first and then moving into the senior level courses. That said, it's not always exactly required that you do every single one first and then move on. And you may find that as you look at some of the senior level courses, probably only 300 level courses, some of those senior level business courses are going to have no prerequisite. So I'm thinking about courses like Introduction to Marketing or Introduction to Human Resources. You may want to mix those into some of your other sort of introductory and first year 200 level courses to kind of keep things interesting and kind of give a balance to the program. But never a bad idea to do all the junior stuff first and move on from there.
Right. Yeah, I'd say the main thing is just making sure you watch the prerequisites too, right? But everything's kind of put in a logical order in the right sequence in DegreeWorks as well. So it's another plus that. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to mention too, I did add a link to the financial aid information on the Office of the Registrar site. I was having problems linking to it before, but I put it in the chat for any of you going through financial aid.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. It's got those links right on the top and the due dates right there available. That's really good information to have in the video.
And watch the video. Yeah, it explains a lot of the process. If you're just starting the process, I think it's really good.
Okay,
Okay.
Megan says, if I have a college diploma, do I need to send my transcript? It is in early childhood education, so not related to human resource management, which is what I am going to be taking. You wanna
Yeah,
grab that one,
I
Cheryl?
would say any post-secondary you've taken that was for credit, again, I would be checking that transfer credit database. Or if you want to have more of a one-on-one conversation with an advisor, contact us through the Student Support Center. We can kind of go over what that was, where it was taken from, and what you have there. But usually there's some stuff there. I mean, even if you get credit for one course, it is going to make a difference to you, right? And be worth the fee. So I definitely wouldn't hesitate on getting things checked out or at least asking some more about it. So you probably still have some general arts and science type credits there that were worth credits and could give you options, for example, even though you're going into a different subject now, right? And the eval fee is only $116. So when you compare that to the price of a course, that's $700 to $900 type dollars. I mean, it makes a big difference, plus your time. So I did give that
Yeah.
link in the chat too before to that transfer credit database.
Yeah, even if you're just to get one out of the one transfer credit. That could be worth the trouble. It says, may I ask a question regarding another program? Thanks. Sure, go for it.
Oh, then they had to leave. So yeah, I'm not sure what it was.
Did they? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Lisa says, disregard my other questions. Well, we've answered them, so that's okay. And she left as well. Megan says, thank you. Dustin says, if we requested to take a look at transcripts from previous education, do they send an email saying that is done, or do we have to keep on looking at myAU? Oh, okay. Yes, Dustin, when they finished your evaluation, you will get an email that says your evaluation results are in. It's going to link to your transfer credit report, which is a somewhat useful document, but it also just lets you know that you've got access to DegreeWorks. You can go in and have a look, which may be more helpful. It is going to send to the email address that's on file. So if you have set up that athabasca.edu email address, it might be sitting there, or it may not be there yet, but you can check on the status of your evaluation if you go into myAU. And so that will kind of give you a heads up as to sort of what stage of the process you're in, and maybe give you an idea of how long it might be before you get that email, before you have your eval results ready to go for you.
Yeah, and if you think something's wrong or not jiving, like you think we should have been done already, then definitely reach out to us and we can follow up for you or check into it.
Yeah, that's a good piece of advice. If it seems like it's been a really long time or something's not quite right, yeah, give us a heads up. Let us have a look and check on it. Aman's got some questions. You also get a link to download an app, Bookshelf, to access your e-text. Oh, maybe that was sort of answering the question
The e-text, yeah.
about access to the e-text. Yeah, downloading the e-text. More and more important all the time these days.
Yeah, we want you downloading your e-text. Download it, download it, download it. Sometimes we lose access to the textbook for copyright or publisher copyright, that kind of thing. So if you download it, it's yours. It's yours. You have it. You're always going to be able to access it, but it's all explained in your course as well. Oh yeah, and Amanda's asking, so is it included in the price of the course? Yes. Any resources that are required for your course are listed in the materials section on that syllabus. That's all provided to you. So no extra fee there for any of that. If you wanted a paper-based copy or something, then that would be an additional cost to you because you're choosing that in a different format. But we have to provide you with the main resource. Okay.
So Dustin followed up and just said thanks, but he said, yeah, it's been 5 weeks now. So yeah, Dustin, it sounds like you're still sort of within the time frame that it's taking an evaluation at
Yeah,
the
it
moment.
should be any
Probably,
time. Yeah.
yeah.
Marcia's asking about purchase hard copy text. If we know of a publisher resource that's providing the print copy, we would provide you that information in your course as well. So you don't have to go search for things. We will tell you how to get that.
Yeah, most of the time it comes from a publisher, but I mean,
Yeah.
shop around. If there's somewhere you can get it, if you can get it cheaper, used bookstore,
Yeah.
go for it. Old school, like, I see you, Marcia. Old school.
Great. Yeah, you're welcome, Dustin. Just thanking us. I hope everything you found beneficial today and useful for you. I'm gonna put up our contact here again. Hang on. There we go. Again, so you have it all. And they're open over lunchtime as well. So if you call, that's one other thing. If you call the main AU number right now, the 1-800-788-9041, they have limited phone access right now, whereas our student support center has been open since like day one of the whole pandemic crisis. So we are still open and accessible. We can link you to other areas sometimes. So use us. That's what we're here for. You're in the right place. We pride ourselves on our student service here for sure.
Yeah, and yeah, don't be afraid to sort of call, even if you know you're not sure that's something that we would necessarily handle. Student support center is always happy to refer you to the appropriate person to answer your question, or they may be able to transfer you right through depending on what the situation is. So yeah, if there are things like that, don't hesitate. Just give them a call and see, try to stump them. See what you can do.
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to hear you say that
Right.
one. We should have a little contest next time. Who stumped the SSC advisor? Okay. Oh, you're welcome, Amanda. Yeah, I'm glad you're so excited. I hope everybody's still excited. Anxious to get started now. Now comes the hard part. You have to go out and do it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes things hold us up, but it's never too late to get started. And like I said, you can start anytime basically, so that's good. Hopefully you're as excited at the end as you are now. Just remember that convocation. We want to see you there too. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. So we're going to wrap things up for now. And again, I hope to hear from you all at some point throughout your studies, or we should be anyway. Don't be scared to reach out or contact us anytime. And yeah, you guys have yourself a good day, and congrats on applying or looking at applying and taking that first step towards finishing that program. So congratulations and best of luck to you in your studies, and thanks for attending today. And thanks, Fraser, for helping me out.
Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, thanks everybody for coming out, and yeah, good luck with getting things started, and we hope to hear from you if you've got anything at all.